Hi there. Today we're going to be thinking about another journaling technique. This one's called I Notice, I Wonder, It Reminds Me of. So for this activity, you're going to want to choose an object from nature that's fairly small. I've picked this leaf here. And you're going to be spending a few minutes thinking about each of those three sections. I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of. And if you are a planner, you might do this in your journal first and then do your video. Or if you prefer to get ideas by talking, you might find that doing the video first actually really helps you with your journaling. So the first one is I notice, and that's focusing on observation. So this isn't opinions or what you think about it. This is really about what you notice. So I'm going to model this for you. I notice that my leaf is turned yellow, and I notice that a lot of its other leaves the leaves from the same type of tree are actually brown, and this one's yellow. And I also notice it's got some spots on it, and they have green around the outside, and then they have some brown dots in the middle. And I notice that one edge is curled, and I notice it's fairly small for this type of leaf. So I could probably keep going, and I might in my journal, but that's a few observations about my leaf that I noticed. Next I'm going to move on to I wonder. So I wonder why my leaf is yellow when others have turned brown. And I wonder why it has these brown curly bits. Why are some parts of it drier than others? And I wonder why it's so small compared to other big leaf maple trees. And I also am very curious about these spots. So they're black dots with green around the outside and kind of a darker brown in the middle. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 of them on this small leaf. So I'm curious about that. I wonder what made those. And again, asking questions is lots of fun. And you'll notice that when I kind of got stuck, I went back and made more observations. A lot of the time my questions and my observations are connected. Which brings us to our third element, which is connections. So that's making connections with what you notice and you wonder. What does it remind you of? So I'm a little stuck on this one. It kind of reminds me of the color of the sun. That feels kind of poetic. I kind of want to get a little more scientific. Nothing wrong with getting poetic. In fact, while I was working on this lesson, I had to pause and write a little poem. So you can always do that too. But I want to make a connection here. So I might just ponder for a second. Think about my leaf. What does it remind me of? Well, it definitely makes me think of my childhood and jumping in leaf piles. So it reminds me of fun. Definitely makes me think about fall. I think a little bit about winter coming. I like the crisp days in the fall. And I'm from Canada, so it reminds me of the Canadian flag, although then it would be red. So those are some of my connections. I find the connections can be tricky, and you might not have as many connections as you do questions. And you might find that as you work through, you actually make some more connections as well. So when you're finished, or you might have done this beforehand, you want to record these in your journal along with your core routines and anything else that comes to mind. Mine has a little poem in it. And you might want to use last week's lesson, your zoom in, zoom out, and do some elements of that as well. Like I might do a zoom in on those little black dotted sections that I'm curious about. And if I find out the answers to my questions, I love to put them in my journal so I can remember later that I found out what exactly I was looking for. So I hope you have a great time with your journaling, and I will talk to you next time.